Hi everyone, it's Nikki from Boulder Valley Stitching again, and today is Friday, February 28th, 2020, and I cannot express how excited I am that today is Friday. It has been a crazy few weeks for me, mostly with my day job, and this is the first weekend in probably about a month that I don't have any deadlines. I don't have anything that I have to get done. So I am extremely excited to just kind of chill out and work on some of my projects and just kind of relax. This is going to be nice because I haven't had that for a few weeks. And in honor of the complete and total craziness that I've had the last few weeks, I got out my crazy mug, which has been my go-to mug for the past 3 weeks. Yeah, this has been my life. But also, since today I am going to show you a bunch of finishes that I did last week, and I kind of feel like Priscilla and Chelsea and Vana are like the queens of finishing. I used to hate finishing until I watched some of the YouTube videos that they've put together, it just showing some of the ideas, Vana's techniques, and now I actually like finishing. I never thought I'd be any good at it. And after watching their tutorials and trying some things and getting some different ideas, I now actually really like to finish. So, but it takes some time, which I'll explain in a minute. But in honor of the fact that I'm going to show a bunch of finishing, I wore my Stitching with the Housewives t-shirt that I got a couple months ago when, oh, I'm sorry, I got it in December when Fat Quarter Shop did their December sales thing. So I had to buy it. And I love this shirt. So I am wearing it in honor of my finishing stuff that I'm going to show you today. So let's start. Let's start with, before I show you the finishing, I think I'm going to show you the whips that I've been working on because I need your opinion on some stuff too. First, I'll show you the whips I've been working on. I got a lot to show you guys today, by the way. This is the first one that I've been working on. This is the March Cottage series by Country Cottage Needleworks. Yes, that's who did this one. I get Country Cottage and Little House mixed up a lot. So, but this one is Country Cottage. This is the March Cottage. And I was hoping to get this done by March so I can display it. But since it's the 28th of February, this might be more like the first week of March I get this done. But we'll see. I was really hoping to get it done last weekend, but that didn't happen. All I really have left to do is the inside of these windows and the tree. And I got my little sheep. I was so excited I got the sheep. The sheep's just adorable. So really, really trying to get this one done. Hopefully I can get it done by Sunday, but we'll see. So I'm working on this. I also started the Three Musketeers by Sapphire Mountain, her book club stitch along, her book club Sal, and I love her patterns. I love the book club idea, stitching book club, and I started Pride and Prejudice, which I still need to finish, but I did start Three Musketeers because I love whips. I love whips, and who doesn't get happy by starting a new project? Really, I mean, seriously, like, who doesn't? How does that not make anybody happy? But so I started Three Musketeers, and this is where I need you guys' opinion. So this is let me see if I can get a better shot of it. It's kind of a royal blue fabric. It's when I first started, look at this, the material that I picked a brighter blue, more of a turquoise blue, and it just wasn't, it was okay, but it wasn't great. So I really, really wanted a darker blue. And I went to the local needlework shop down in Denver, and I found this one, which is, like I said, it's more of a royal blue. And then I restarted it on the royal blue. And I like it. It's nice, but it still just wasn't quite what I thought. But so what I ended up, I found, I got some of this navy blue. navy blue fabric. So I'm wondering, and like I said, I want some opinions. Should I go ahead and restart my Three Musketeers from the royal blue onto the navy blue? I don't know. I'm leaning towards restarting it, but I'd like to hear what some other people think. So, I mean, I really think that this fleur-de-lis here and then some of the banners would just really pop on the dark blue fabric. So but I'm gonna let you guys weigh in as well before I decide to restart this completely. So I'm gonna leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think. So that's the other thing I've been working on. And by the way, this is my second start. So I started it, didn't like my fabric, restarted it, and now I'm talking about starting it a third time. So let me know what you think. Yeah, I know that's what I do. The other one that I started that I'm also going to restart. Yeah, I know. You guys can call me crazy as much as you want. Go ahead. Everybody else does. You know, my family and everybody already thinks I'm crazy, so you wouldn't be the first one. I started Bloomtopia, which is from Fat Quarter Shop. Utopia. This is kind of a gray fabric, color and cotton gray fabric, and I'm not liking it. I love the fabric. I'm not crazy about the colors that are how they're working with the fabric. I want something a little bit, I don't know, more spring. I think I just want something more spring. So again, like I said, I went down to the Needleworks shop a couple weeks ago, and I picked up this one. This is a lilac. It's a lilac color, and I'll put it on the board here and see if you can see it a little bit better. It's kind of it's really hard to see. It's a lilac, purple, pink color that I really think is going to work better with the colors. I think it's gonna make it that more spring look that I want. So yeah, I'll be restarting that one. Good thing I only gotten through part one. So and it goes really fast. If you're stitching it or you haven't started stitching it, it's a free pattern with a donation. I mean, they do like you to donate to Make-A-Wish Foundation, which I did. I donated to Make-A-Wish, and then I downloaded the pattern, and it comes out every 2 weeks. There's 2 that have been released so far, and I believe there's, I can't remember how many total there are. There is, I'll show you. Looks like there's 11. There's 11 releases in it. So that's the pattern there. And I mean, I like it on the gray, but I just want something a little bit more springy. So I'm restarting it on the lighter fabric. But yeah, if you haven't started this and you want to, you can get the pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop website, the blog site that she does, Jolly Jabber, and stitch along with everybody else. But it's actually, it goes really fast. It's a pretty quick stitch. So I was surprised. I did part one in one evening. So it's pretty quick. Okay, so those are the stitching projects that I have been working on, rotating through. Those are my stitching projects, and I haven't gotten far, clearly, because I keep changing my material and starting over. So because I'm crazy. Anyway, I also have been doing some quilting projects too, but I think what I'll do is I'll wait until later in the video to go through the quilting stuff and just start with stitching stuff first. So those are my whips. Now let's talk about finishing. Like I said, I used to hate finishing because I never knew what to do, and I never knew the easy way to do it. And honestly, my biggest fear was cutting my fabric. I know. When I would finish something, even, it says, 3 inches border on your stitch project to leave room for framing and finishing. Well, they do want you to actually cut that off eventually to when you're doing finishing and to make it fit right. I wasn't cutting it off. So I'd have these big, huge things wrapped around. I'd have all this fabric wrapped around the back because I was too scared to cut my fabric. Anybody out there who is afraid of cutting your fabric for finishing, don't be. Don't be afraid to cut it. Don't get me wrong, leave room for finishing, but don't feel like you have to have 6 inches of border on your stitching wrapped around the back of your frame so that because you're afraid to cut off. Go ahead. It's scary. It's really scary when you first start doing it because you're like, I put so much work into this and I know I'm going to cut it. It's okay. It will look better if you go ahead and trim off the extra fabric. So, but yeah, after watching some of the Vana from Twisted Stitcher tutorials on YouTube and seeing the different techniques that Priscilla does with magnets and switching things out, which is something it was like, oh my God, it was just this epiphany for me to go, oh, of course I can use the same piece and I could just switch it out for a season. Why didn't that occur to me? It didn't. And I can't explain why. But once I started getting into it more, watching more tutorials, looking at, and Instagram has been huge for seeing how other people finish things, just getting inspired on how to finish. I really got to the point where I'm not afraid of it. I like doing it, but it's also kind of something I have to prep for. I don't leave all of my finishing stuff out all the time because it's messy and it's a lot of clutter. So when I finish, it's kind of a 2-day process. I mean, I'm going to do nothing but finishing for about 2 days. And because I have to bring all my stuff out and then it's a mess and then I need it cleaned up and put away because I wish I had enough space to be able to just leave it out all the time, but I don't. So I kind of have to be in the right mindset to do finishing. But I do like it, but it is messy. So what I finished last week, and part of the reason why I went ahead and I wanted to make this video now is because I need to send these off to my mom and I need to get in the mail. But I wanted to show you what I did first. So what I finished was my mom's stuff. My mom, she does do finishing and she doesn't mind it, but she's not, she doesn't like it as much as I do. So what ends up happening is when she comes out to visit me or she'll send me a box or she'll bring them with her, a bunch of her finished stitches and ask me, and it's like, here, finish. This happens more than once. So everything that I finished last weekend was hers. We won't talk about the pile that I have of my own stuff that still needs to be finished because I did all her stuff that she, well, okay, to be perfectly honest, it has been sitting for a while. She gave it to me a couple months ago to finish, and it's been sitting there going, finish me, finish me, finish me, and I haven't gotten around to it. And finally, I got to do it. I just got to do it. I got to sit down. I got to do it. So, on to the finishing. Something to know is my mom uses Aida. And I typically stitch on linen. She stitches on Aida, which she uses Picture This Plus and Color and Cotton most of the time when she stitches. So, but you really can't even tell. So let's start. We'll start at the top. This is her Wee Santa by Heart and Hand. I don't remember the year. I don't remember the year of the Santa, but she stitched this up and I made it into a flat ornament. Now, the other thing about my mom that I know this is she likes things very clean, straight lines, simple finishes. She doesn't like a lot of embellishment. She likes things to have nice, straight, clean lines. So I left this pretty simple. I just did the mounting. I made some cording. I do have a quarter, which I love the cording because I can make whatever color cord I want with DMC thread. And then I added a small bow with ribbon. I struggle with bows. I'll be honest. Bows are one of those things I struggle with, but I'm getting better. And I really liked it because it had little cardinals on it. So this was her wee Santa ornament that I finished for. Again, she likes just simple, clean lines. Now, I am that crazy person that will sit and make sure that every single side of the ornament is perfectly aligned. Yeah, I know. I know. It's a little bit of an OCD thing for me, but I'm sitting here with the ruler making sure that we got exactly half an inch on every side of the finishing. I know. I'm a little strange. I get it. So that was the first thing. One of the second things that I finished is her waiting for Santa. Yeah, waiting for Santa. I love the sheep. I love sheep. I love houses. I really like the way the stitching turned out on this one. I think this is a country cottage. I don't know that for sure. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments or the description box below to make sure that I have the right. I think it's country cottage, but it might be Little House. I can't remember. But I just love the sheep. I love the sheep. So this one, I didn't. This one she's planning on putting mounting it. So she's going to put a magnet on the back of this one and attach it to probably some type of frame or stand that she already has in her house. So I didn't do anything in the back. I just I left it blank so that she can attach the magnets and everything so she can switch it out. But again, I did very simple cording, the mat board, and a bow. So that was the second thing. The next one, or the rest of these, are all mounted flat folds. So this one, Sunshine on a Stem, this is hands-on design. And the way I finished this one was as a mounted flat fold. And at the end of the video, I'll do a little, I'll do a little going around, kind of showing you a little close-up of it. But so this stands like that. And it stands up on its own so that she can set it on a shelf that she has in her foyer. But I really, really like the way this one turned out with this cording here, I think. Oh, yeah, no, this was DMC cording. This was one that I did, I believe it was number 814 was the DMC number that I used for the cording, and it just really offset with the fabric really well. And then I just did a small bow. And now she can, and then there's the bottom for the angle, the easel, I guess. It's kind of one of those placard boards that you'd see if you were outside of a restaurant and you saw like a daily special type of a thing. That's what it's mirrored after. The next one, same concept. It's the same mounted flat fold, only it's vertical instead of, I'm sorry, horizontal instead of vertical. This one is Snow by Shepherd's Bush. Yeah, Shepherd's Bush Snow. Again, it's the same mounted flat fold. She can set it on her shelf at this one she actually could do for winter instead of Christmas, which is what she was wanting. She wanted me to do more of the winter stuff versus the Christmas stuff. So again, this cording, this one is different. I did not make this cording. This one I bought at Michael's. It's kind of a rough spun cording. It's very coarse. And I did that because I wanted it to kind of offset with the stitching that she had. I wanted to kind of highlight some of the browns that she had in here and offset with the white background. I mean, the background has kind of, it does have a pattern. You can see it, but it's very light. And it goes with the blue really well. So, but I didn't want it to blend too much by doing a white cording. And I really just wanted that more rough spun look. So I did that one again as the flat fold, and then they're easy to store because they lay flat, and then you can just store them if you want to. And the last one that I did for her is Every Heart. This is Every Heart. Oh, and by the way, if you follow me on Instagram, you already saw all of these, but actually you may have only seen this one. I think my mom posted the other one, so you may have only seen this one. This is Every Heart by Cottage Needleworks. And again, love the sheep. Little bit different with the stitching here. The eyes in the pattern call for French knots. And I like French knots. I can do French knots, but she prefers beads to French knots. I kind of like beads too. So instead of doing French knots for the eyes, we did beads. So it's a little different. So you can always change things. If you don't like French knots, use bead. And then I added some these are buttons. Actually, these are little flower buttons that I did. And on the four corners, I was trying to find something a little bit brighter red, but I didn't have any. So we're going to go with pink. And then just a small bow. Again, the checkerboard pattern or fabric came out really good, and she can set it up. And this is obviously a 4th of July one. So she'll put that one out pretty soon, probably. So I need to get all of these sent off to her, but I wanted to show you guys what I did before I sent them. So that's why I haven't sent them. Sorry, Mom, I haven't sent them to you yet. I will get them in the mail next week. Anyway, I was also going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I use for the finishing. Anytime that I'm working with Aida, typically Aida, you have to be careful to make sure that whatever you're putting behind it for batting, I do use batting. I use batting behind all of the stitching that I finish. So in this one, for example, actually I'll grab this one too. So this one, for example, and you can kind of, I don't know if you can see it real well. Maybe if I did that, you can see it. It's puffed up a little bit. That's because of batting. I always put batting behind all of my stitching before I put it onto any of the boards, the mount. This is mount board. Yeah, mounting board. So you can find mounting board at any Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I think Joann's has some, but I prefer the stuff at Hobby Lobby. The reason why is because I can get it in a 3-pack. They have a 3-pack of, I think they're 11 by, no, they're bigger than that. They're pretty good size. They're probably about maybe a 24 by 24 size, maybe different. Anyway, 20 by 24. You can get them in a package of 3. So actually, hang on a second. I think I have a package. I'll be right back. Pack. Okay, sorry, I have a pack. So this is the stuff that I like to use. It's actually a 15 by 20 piece. I know it's black on this side, but it's white on this side. So what I do when I do my finishing is I cut this down to size, and the black is on the back, and then I put the stitching on the white side. Or if I'm working with something dark, I can flip it around. I like that board because it's easy to manage with cutting to size. So I go to Hobby Lobby, I use my 40% off coupon, and I get it for, I think, like $6.50 for three sheets. It's not a bad price. But anytime that I'm working with Aida, when I'm finishing Aida, I have to be careful to make sure that whatever I'm putting behind it doesn't bleed through. And by behind it, I mean the batting. So for this one, for example, I used a white piece of leftover batting, and I have a whole container of batting scraps that I use from the quilting that I do. If I have an extra scrap, I throw it in the bin because I'll use it for finishing. I've got a whole bin over there, but I used white behind this one because the weave was pretty small. I can't remember if this is a 16 or an 18. I think she did a 16 count on this, but it didn't bleed through. But on something like this, that was more, it looked a little bit more like a canvas. I mean, it was a wider, larger count. The white was showing through. So this is where you have to kind of be careful when you're doing finishing. Is this works well. I mean, you've got, usually you can either find a natural batting or a white batting to make sure that things don't bleed through on your fabric, especially since this one was a darker blue. Actually, both of them were kind of bleeding through, and you would see that white. So what I do anytime that happens, I do this a lot when I'm working with darker fabrics, especially blacks, reds, navy, anything that has a really, really dark fabric. I will actually put a piece of just regular fabric, just any solid color fabric scrap behind my stitching, in between. So basically I'm putting that piece of fabric between my stitching and the batting. And what that does is it eliminates that white or light color from bleeding through the darker material. So I do that a lot. And all I do is I have my square, I have my batting, and then I attach that fabric, and then I attach my stitched piece. So it just helps. I just think it makes it look a little bit cleaner. You don't have that bleed through. So anyway, but I have all kinds of batting scraps sitting over there that I use for my finishes. But yeah, that's something that I do tend to really watch, is to make sure how it looks on the front. Some of the other things that I like to use, just kind of tools of the trade, so to speak, for me. This is not, and guys, I am not the finishing police by any means. This is just some of the things that I do, some of the things I like to work with finishing. You do not have to do this. Glue. Glue. Glue is a godsend when it comes to finishing. So this, I can I can kill a bottle of glue in a weekend when it comes to finishing, especially when I am working with mounted flat folds, because each one of these, so to do a mounted flat fold, you actually have 5 pieces of mat board. You have 1 for your stitched piece, so there, and then you have 4 for your background. To make this flat fold, it takes 4 pieces of mat board, and the fabric is attached to 4 pieces of mat board. So that's where the spray glue comes really handy, because you can spray on this part, but then when you're doing the edges, when you're pulling it around to get that nice edge on here, that's when you're going to use your regular glue. And this is another reason why I kind of have to be in a finishing mode, because like I said, it's messy, and I will have things drying everywhere. I mean, for these 3, just these 3 different flat folds, you're talking about 15 pieces of mat board. So I had 15 pieces of mat board drying in various places around in the cave, and because they all have to be glued, and they all have to sit and dry, and then you can put them together. So glue is my favorite thing, but the spray glue is wonderful when you're working with the mounted flat folds. So the other thing that I use a lot, like I said, I mean, I use my rulers all the time, because I am kind of OCD when it comes to centering and lines. I want, if I'm looking for a 1/2 inch between the stitching in the border, I'm that one that's going to sit there with the ruler and make sure that I have exactly 1/2 inch on each one of these sides. Same thing with the stitching to the edge of where that cording is. I'm a little obsessive about it, so I want it perfect. So I have rulers all over the place that I use. When it comes to doing the glue on the back, when you're gonna actually pull it around, basically this part right here, one of the things that I really like to use is one of these. You can use a paintbrush. You can use a paintbrush. You can use, whatever you want to kind of, paint that glue on a little bit better. I like these because I can throw them out. When I'm done finishing, this goes in the garbage. I know it's kind of wasteful, but for me, I would rather use one of these for my glue, toss it in the garbage can, than try to get glue out of a paintbrush. I find it time consuming and I don't like doing it. So I buy these and I throw them away when I'm done. And I can get a pack of 20 of these at Michael's or Joann's for like $5. So totally worth it. Totally worth it for me. Now, cording. After I do the cording, to get it on here really good without getting glue all over the place, because you have your line of glue and then you're pushing your cording towards your line of glue. I use a chopstick. Yep, I use a chopstick and I just kind of, push it along here, and this keeps the glue off of my fingers and off of the front of my material. So or my finishing. So my big fancy chopstick tool and my disposable sponge brush, these are invaluable for me when I'm doing finishing. So those are some of the things that I use, the tools, my big tools for finishing. And ribbon. Oh my gosh, every time I finish there is ribbon and cording everywhere. It's like a ribbon explosion down here because I want to find the right one, especially when with the bows and everything. So yeah, that's my finishes. Those are my mom's finishes. So now I need to box them up and get them shipped off to her so that she can enjoy them. And then maybe next Friday I'll actually get a chance to finish my own stuff. So I kind of like the finishing Friday plan. Friday finishing. There we go. So maybe I'll do it next weekend. Work on some of my own stuff. Now, let's move on to talk about some quilting stuff that I've also been working on. So the one quilt, I got one fully finished since the last video, and it was the Cupid box from Fat Quarter Shop. It was their annual Cupid box. I was so excited that I got it. And it made a table topper, and it was actually really easy and quick to do. I was so impressed with it, and I just love the way it turned out. This is, I'm going to hold it up here. That is my table topper. And obviously, since it's the Cupid box, it's for Valentine's Day. Oh, and I did this background on it. But, since it was Cupid and Valentine's Day, and now Valentine's Day is over, this is now being stored. So, which means I need to get another one put together, and I haven't. So I'm a little behind on quilting, on my table toppers. But I do love the way that turned out. The box was just so easy to follow, and it really turned out, it was a really cute project. And I got it done in about 2 days. I think I did all of the piecing one day, and then I did the actual quilting on it the next day. So I could have gotten it done all in one day, but I was doing it in the evenings. So I worked. I did my day job during the day. So anyway, the other thing that I did is I put together, this is a flannel. This is actually flannels for a lap quilt that I want just kind of down here in the craft cave when it gets a little chilly and down here, because it can get chilly. And so guys, I work from home. My day job, I spend a lot of time, I spend my time in front of the computer, and it's it gets chilly down here during, sometimes. So I wanted a lap quilt for myself for down here, and I wanted flannels. So I have the topper done, but I haven't done the actual quilt sandwich and quilting part of it. I need to get that done. So I did Jolly. It was the Jelly Roll Jam, really Jelly Roll Jam 2, free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop. It was a YouTube video on it, and I love strips. I mean, I love using jelly rolls and strip units, and so I just couldn't resist this one. So I did. So this is it. Like I said, I need to get the quilting done on it. I just have the topper done. So that then I'll use it down here. This is the last topper that I worked on over the last month. A Quilting Life has a challenge going on right now to use up scraps. If you remember correctly, I have a bunch of boxes of scraps above my head here. So this was just the perfect challenge for me, was something that really got you inspired to use up the quilting scraps that you have laying all over the place, which I have a lot. So she does a different pre-cut each month, and January's was strip units, so 2.5-inch strips. You basically came up with a project to, and you could do anything. I mean, you could, just find a project to use up some scraps. So, and then you submit her pictures, and she put on her blog and everything. But and I didn't. January was just so crazy. I didn't have a chance to participate in that one, even though I have so many strip unit scraps. Strip scraps. I should have done it, but I didn't. But this month, February, was charm squares. So charm squares, 5x5-inch squares, and again, find a pattern, grab some scraps, and make a quilt. I only have the top done. I haven't done the sandwich or the quilting on it yet. I just have the top done. But I found a really cool, well, this is kind of a morph of a pattern, so to speak. I found a pattern using charm squares, and then I kind of changed it up a little bit. This is my charm square topper. I really like the picture window effect that it had, and then the borders that I ended up putting on it. This one used 25 different charm squares, which was perfect, because sometimes I'll have, 1 or 2 charm squares left over from something that I just have one of them. I don't have 2 of the same 5-inch square. I just have one. So this was perfect because it used 25 different. I didn't have to try and find matching anywhere. So got him cut up and sewn back together, and then I added my borders, and now I need to do the sandwich part. I need to actually do the quilt. But I do like the way that this turned out. And when I was doing it, I started wondering, could I do this with strip units? Because the first thing you do with the charm square, so I'll use that one for example, first thing you do is you cut it in half. You cut your charm square in half, so you have a 2.5 by 2.5 by 5 piece. It's a rectangle. And then you sew this middle piece in between them. And then so now you have a block that has a 2.5 by 5 rectangle with a piece with a white piece in between, and then a 2.5 by 5. And then you cut it again, and you do the same thing on the other side to get this 4 square patch look. So then I started thinking, could I do it with a strip unit? And come to find out, yes, you can. So strips are 2.5-inch. Well, I started with a 2.5-inch by 5 rectangle. So I took a 2.5-inch strip, sewed the strip, the white, in between, and then I sewed a second strip on the other side, and then I cut them in 5-inch pieces, and it gave me the same thing. So yeah, you can do it as a strip in a strip units, which was kind of like, okay, well, you know, I can use up some strip units that way too. So I'm working on that later. But yeah, so those are the quilting projects that I've either finished or been working on. Well, the top's finished. Works in progress, I really don't have too many. I have some that I'm getting ready to start, but I haven't quite started yet. One is Meadowland. I'm going to start that one tonight. And I picked out fabric, but I may end up changing a few of them. We'll see. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is I wanted to show you this month's Snow Sampler. I love these boxes. I really do. That Cupid box and the one that I did, the acorn caps, they came from the Snow Samplers. I really like these boxes. I haven't been disappointed with one yet. This one was called Lucky Charm. I know, it's very cute. It has 2 charm packs to make this table runner. And I know, and a lot of people, so this is a different technique for doing these, I think they're hexagons. It's a different technique. You have a template. And all of this came in the box. You've got the pattern, you've got the template, and you've got the fabric to put together this table topper, and then you have the thread to do the quilting on top. I'm looking forward to trying this. I've read through the whole pattern, and some of it is I don't know. It's some of it is definitely techniques that I've never done before. So, and I think that's probably why I'm looking forward to trying it out, because I've never done some of the techniques that they're talking about in here. I'm hoping that they do a YouTube video tutorial on this one to kind of, you know, make it go a little bit. I'm a very visual person, so hoping, but if not, I think I can still figure it out. We'll see. But it's definitely a little bit more advanced than some of the ones I've done in the past. But I love that fabric. This fabric is just gorgeous. I may end up having to buy some more of that fabric. But the Sew Sampler box this month is, like I said, I've never been disappointed. And there is also, well, there's a coupon I can't share. That is, there was one more thing that I did get done in the last month. I made some pillows. I made some pillow covers. There's my pillow. I love the tropical look of this. I brought this upstairs and my husband went, "Whoa, that's bright." It matches absolutely nothing in my house, guys. Nothing. Nothing matches this in my house. But I was really wanting something a little bit more floral, spring, summer, tropical. I guess I'm really just wanting to be in Hawaii. I think that's, you know, this is my subconscious telling me go to Hawaii. But again, I brought it upstairs and my husband was kind of like, "Ooh, that's a little bright." Well, they're my pillows, they're not his, so he can live with it. I think that's about it. I've got lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff I'm working on, and hopefully the next time that I make another video, I'll get to show you my own finishes instead of my mom's. I do also, please leave me a comment about the blue fabric, whether or not I should start the 3 Musketeers over on the navy blue fabric or keep going on the royal blue. I'd love to hear some opinions. So that's about all I have for today, guys. Leave me comments. I love comments. I read all of them. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Stitchy weekend. I know that's what I'm planning on doing this weekend, especially since Sunday is my birthday. Yes, I know. Okay, it's out there. Sunday is my birthday. I had to wait an extra day. My birthday's March 1st, and it's leap year, so I had to wait an extra day. Oh darn, I had to wait one more day to turn older. Yeah, there's something I'm okay with, honestly. But my plan is to kind of do nothing on Sunday on my birthday. So, till next time, guys, have a great stitchy weekend, week, month, and I will talk to everybody soon. Bye!